welcome QuickTag, as they are our sponsors here at GPUC, as well as they're doing a webinar for us today. Now, they have great products, and so we'll be talking about AP, complete your AP cycle for invoice to payment with KwikPayables. So I'd like to welcome Mary Miller, Matt O'Neill, and Michael Sortino. So did I get that right?
Yeah.
So thank you guys for coming, and I'll turn this over to you.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Judy. And welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us. Excited to be here and also for the upcoming events that Judy mentioned as well, to be part of those. And as she mentions, our names, but we'll tell you a little bit about what we do at QuickTag. I'm Michael Sortino. I'm a partner manager here at QuickTag, helping to organize and run events like this, among other things, with our partners. And I'll have Mary and Matt introduce themselves real quick. Mary?
Sure thing. I'm Mary Miller. I head up the marketing and channel team here at QuickTag, and we work very closely with implementation specialists, and we're really looking forward to those events that Judy just introduced as well, and happy that you're with us today to talk about AP automation and payments as well.
And I'm Matt O'Neill. I am the dedicated sales contact for implementation specialists and their customers. And I really appreciate your interest here. I hope you get everything out of this presentation that you're looking for. My contact information will be given at the end of the presentation. I won't be able to attend the end of the presentation, so I'll say hello and goodbye right now. But my contact information will be given, and if you have any questions, if you need to see a demo, if you need anything at all, please reach out. It would be great to talk with you.
Yep. So basically, Mary and I reach out to when you want to have fun. When you got some problems, reach out to Matt, and he'll take care of it. All right, so as far as what we're going to do today, aside from just having a good time together, we're going to dig into the KwikPayables solution and payment processing. But first and foremost, Mary is going to run us through some common challenges that you face and that are industry-wide for AP and payment processing. Then I'm going to go ahead and show you KwikPayables, which is our AP automation solution, the Accelerate solution, which is super exciting. We'll talk about that. And then Mary will do a demo of our payment processing, which is relatively new, and we're very excited about that as well. So we'll get to go and take a sneak peek at that, see how that can help as well. We'll run through a customer case study, go over the benefits towards the end to tie things together. And then we certainly have time left over for questions and discussions. So to that end, there should be a little indicator on the right-hand side as you're watching us. Depends on your format, but look for the box that says questions, and then go ahead and type them in as they come to mind, and we will, like I said, we'll get to those at the end. And if you have a hard time finding it, let us know, put a message in the chat. You should be able to find that pretty easily. But go ahead and start, realize that, yeah, we're here for you. We'd love to make this a discussion, but we're going to go through our presentation, and then at the end we'll have time for discussion. And so, Mary, let's talk about some of these challenges that people are facing.
Absolutely. And Michael and Matt, I'm going to go ahead and turn off my camera in the interest of saving bandwidth and screen real estate, but we'll come back on at the end for Q&A. So thank you for that kickoff. And as Michael just mentioned, we are going to talk first about some of the challenges. As if you've ever worked with anyone on the QuickTag team before, you know that we want to understand and get to the root of the why you're doing this, just as importantly as we want to help you find the best solution. And of course, we're going to demonstrate how QuickTag could be that ideal solution for you, but we want to really understand what your challenges are. So I want to start first by sharing a little bit about what we see in the industry in terms of the research around AP and payments. We're going to start with AP. So if you can relate to this, you've come to the right place. The number 1, 2, and 3 challenges, for that matter, related to accounts payable are struggling with manual processes, manual data entry, inefficient processes, lack of visibility, manual routing of invoices. The number one challenge, as you can see, 74% of organizations say their number one challenge is manual data entry and inefficient processes. So if you're still receiving invoices on paper, by way of example, that's slowing down your process, things are getting lost. And now that we're dealing with a lot of people working remotely, you might have noticed our backgrounds, we're all working from home, you have even less visibility and connection to things that need to happen to run the business, to sustain the business, to really get a handle on spend management, your complete cycle, again, from invoice to payment. By way of example, the average invoice processing time is anywhere from 35 to 45 days if done 100% manually. And we're going to show you, Michael's going to demonstrate for you how it can all be done in a matter of minutes. So we really want to simplify that process for you. So manual processes, manual routing, discrepancies, errors, things getting lost. These are the challenges that we see our customers face, and it's backed by industry research. Now, why that's so important, I'll just direct your attention to the bottom line there for a second, is that as organizations come out of the pandemic, a lot of them are planning to still keep some level of remote work in place. And they've realized, they've learned through this challenge, maybe you have as well, that tech-driven products and services are really going to help them maintain their business and come out ahead, be more competitive with things automated through the process. So those are the top AP challenges. Now we're going to switch to payments. Now, you'll notice first and foremost that a couple of these top issues on the payment side are also very similar to those related to invoices: lengthy invoice processing time, data management errors, late payments, et cetera, matching payments to invoices, not to mention all of the security and fraud that can surround those payments if done manually. So what we learned here is that the pandemic has really caused organizations to rethink these traditional back office processes, right? We used to kind of take it for granted. And another, by way of example, when I look at our team, even in the office, when I do occasionally go into the office, oftentimes the people that are there are our accounting and finance staff. So of course now they have the ability to work from home, but sometimes they go in just for a little peace and quiet, I think. But nonetheless, we are looking to, many of them are looking to automation for this spend management procure to pay function. And that's what we're going to focus on today. So again, payment challenges are very similar to that in AP. But in addition to that, as you can see on this slide, it's not just about the challenges. These manual payments that we're dealing with come with hard dollars and cents, costs and risks that you can see displayed here, left-hand side of your screen. You can see that $26 billion is issued in the US alone in depositing checks. $26 billion a year in the US alone is just spent in depositing checks, in that whole process of writing the check, putting it in an envelope, mailing, stamping, mailing, sending it out. Very expensive. Okay. And even when you have some version of electronic payments, there are still significant costs associated with that. But more on that later. The middle box I'd like to call your attention to: fraud. When we put a check in the mail, it introduces the risk for fraud, period, to the tune, as you can see here on this slide, of about $19 billion, okay? Research shows that around more than a million checks per day are forged in the United States, or attempted to. So another reason that we really want to start thinking about electronic payments and those that can reduce that risk for fraud. Because as you see on the right-hand side with this graph, it is shown that in the United States, also 75% of organizations report that they've experienced at least one attempt of check fraud. So this is a serious issue, and we're going to show you how we can tie together the whole solution. Digitally receive invoices, process them with minimal data entry, as you can see on the process flow here. For the index step, it's really more of a validation step. Invoices that need to be routed for workflow review and approval, the system will handle that for you automatically. And then the transaction creation right inside of GP for either payables or purchasing, including the PO matching, is going to be part of the solution. And then the payment processing step, so that you have all of this in one integrated system, an intelligent, touchless AP automation system with AI-based data extraction and automated payment processing. And we're going to show you a couple different flavors of that payment processing that even if you don't want us to actually issue the checks, we'll show you how the payment review and approval step can even add value to that. But first, we're going to start with a quick payables demo that's going to walk you through the first 4 steps in that process. And for that, I'm going to turn it over to Michael to walk us through the initial demonstration there. Michael?
All right, wonderful. Thanks, Mary. Okay, so you should be looking at the QuickTag login screen now.
Yep.
And this is live and coming to you from the cloud and my home office. so enjoy. Everything you're seeing right now is part of our Accelerate solution, which allows you to log in from anywhere. It's awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and log in, and I'll take the role of the AP person. And now our whole goal here is to make your life better. So instead of thinking about your current process, if you're receiving invoices by email and having to like forward those on to people, or if you're getting paper invoices in the mail and you have to stamp them and put them on someone's desk or scan them in and then email them off or whatnot, we're going to take care and take away a lot of that hassle. And so what you're looking at here is a task screen. You come in the morning, on the left-hand side are workflows that I've been assigned to. And I'm going to show you a couple different scenarios here. The first one, I'm going to do an invoice that's not related to a purchase order, right? And then I'll show you one that is related. So I can come in here and see that, oh, I've got invoices waiting for me in my work queue to work on. Now, these can be sent in by email from the vendor themselves. They can send it to AP, and you can forward the invoices in that you want to process through QuickTag. You can, if you do get paper ones, so obviously we're going to encourage you to incentivize your vendors. And once you get this going, it's very easy to do that, to say, hey, please email these in. It's a lot faster than mail, but we do have a very simple way to have somebody scan them in, and it's read by KTIQ, which I'll show you in a moment. And we'll be waiting for you here as well. So you have the ability to filter. There's a lot of cool things that you can do in this interface. We call this KTX. It's your web-based, browser-based interface here. You can search for documents up here up top. I just filtered on my initials to see an invoice that I want to work on. You can always click through, and that's the great thing about QuickTag, is that the document goes with you everywhere you go, and we'll follow it along. So if you want to click and see, okay, there's that one, there's this one. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and take care of the most urgent one up top. And as you can see here, if I scroll over, these columns already have information related to these invoices. And I'm going to go ahead and show you how that got there. Because, look, the vendor ID is there, the vendor name, company ID. So when you come over here and click on the edit icon, this will mimic the data entry that you normally do in GP or in another Microsoft ERP system. And in this case, we very boldly show that you have a duplicate warning here. We never want to have you send an invoice through twice. So that'll come up if we detect the same document number, the same invoice number, either in QuickTag or in GP already. So yeah, it's a demo system, so I get that all the time. But at any rate, we're going to fill out using KTIQ. This is something Mary mentioned earlier. It's cloud-based. It's so simple and easy to set up, and it works behind the scenes. You really don't have to do anything. All the invoices are just routed through this service that we provide, and we extract the information and validate it against GP in this case, and then fill out pretty much everything you need to move this invoice along. So we support intercompanies. So in this case, it defaults to false. But if you are going to use intercompany, you can turn that to true. We gathered that this was for Fabricam. We went and saw here that it was interiors. We looked at the address, phone number, validated it in GP, and pulled up this vendor ID. Now, if you have other locations for interiors, you do have the ability to look directly into to GP. So this is a live stateful connection. So even if this vendor is added 30 seconds ago, I have I can just start typing enter, and I look at this, I have all these different options. So like international telephone has a few different locations. In this case, it is interiors. We got it right, so we'll move along. You can type a description in here, that'll carry over. Even if you spell memo as meow-mo, that's like a cat version of memo, that's all right.
Keep it interesting, you know, have fun with it.
We grab the document date, but again, all of this you can fix if you need to, but the whole goal is to not have to type anything additional. In the demo situation, I do have to make this unique, so I'll just put implement here. Implementation specialist, our trusted partner. And as you know, it validates this as an invoice. We can support credit memos as well. Let's grab the purchases amount. And then a couple things that for the workflow side of things and moving this along through your process, let's look at GL distributions and approvers, right? So some people do this in the first step and have AP say, okay, I know what this is for. I'm going to go ahead and click here, and lo and behold, these GLs are already loaded in. Now, this is because in GP, the vendor card has them in place already. And they're changeable too. So you can add as many rows as you need to, delete, you can change by clicking in here. You can look up your accounts, just like I showed you earlier with the vendor. Everything is live and connected to GP. So if you want to add or change anything, you can. In this case, we're going to go ahead and click OK. I'm showing you a happy path so that we can show you a lot today. But those are our GL codes. If your approver or the next person in line is the one, like a manager normally does that, we can certainly set it up to where they do that on their next step. In this case, I'm just going to show you the route where it's coded here and then it's sent off for approval. Now, I've got a little search glass here for the approver. It's a drop-down list, and I can select Michael Department Manager and send that on. That's one way that we do this. We can also send it on automatically. You know, when in the beginning, when you help us design your workflows, we can say, okay, if this was, you know, under $5,000, it'll always go to the manager. If it's over, it goes to, you know, controller, CFO, and whatnot. We can design that based on those thresholds. But in this case, let's go ahead and send it to Michael Department Manager. I really like the workflow comments. This is useful during the process, but it's also a great way to have an audit trail for things that need it, right? So if you're not sure what this charge was for, you could say, please explain the charge. And this will be visible throughout the workflow, but then also it'll always be stored as part of the history as well. So you can see I talk through it, but it's really not much you have to do as far as entering anything in. It's really just some coding and choosing an approver and putting some comments in if you would like to, and then away it goes. And now the exciting thing too is that this is going to be tracked, right? So QuickTab will take care of hounding down the approver, right? Another part of your daily woes as an AP person is, you know, checking in with that department manager. Hey, did you get the email? Did you see the invoice? Can you please give me your approval or feedback? We'll take care of all of that. You're going to see coming up here an email that will notify the department manager, hey, you've got some work to do. They can also, let's log in here as Michael Department Manager. They can also log into QuickTag and go to their task queue and take care of business in that respect. So I'll come here to Payables Invoice Review. There's that email, if you see in the bottom right-hand corner, that just came through. And we'll look at that in a moment. But again, as an approver, I can jump in here, see the invoice. I can see all the information on this row here, but if I want to dig in deeper, I can go, okay, look at the workflow history. They want me to explain this, what this is for, that's fine. I can email this off right from QuickTag if I have a question. I can show whatever coding's been done. So let's say this is step 3 or the third person in line, and they really want to look at that coding. This will be visible to everybody. I can delegate. So let's say this time around, I actually wasn't the person who ordered this service or this charge. and I can choose somebody else, another user, send that off to them, and I can reject or approve. Rejecting will require workflow comments because nobody wants something back in their inbox that says, hey, this was rejected, and you have no clue why. But for approval, it doesn't require, you can just type those in, and I'll say this was for XYZ event. And I've approved it using the web interface in QuickTag. But let's take a look at the most popular way of approving, and that is by going into email. So the nice thing about this, I mean, people always ask, you know, can I approve these on the go without logging into QuickTag? And the answer is certainly, and everybody takes advantage of this. If you can get work email on your phone, if you're traveling and you're, you know, at the airport, thankfully travel's back up, so you're sitting there and you want to check your email on your laptop, they'll come in here, it'll have the invoice attached. So this is what we were just working on. You can see my great description there, Meowmo, and all of the information that was entered in around this. It's got the GL codes, it's got the workflow history as well, and I have the ability to see the document. It's attached here, as you can see, as a PDF, and I can approve or reject right here from my phone. This opens up a reply email, sends it back to the system, and automatically updates it and moves it along to the next step in the process. So you don't have to worry about getting emails as an AP person from an email approval. It actually will update QuickTag and move it along. So now that's approved. We want to get that into GP so we can pay it, right? So we have one step here that we've added. I'll go ahead and refresh this. A lot of customers like to have a final look at things before they go into GP, just to make sure that along this route of you know, review, approval, that everything was done right. So here's our invoice that we sent along. There's that unique document number. I can click on it too. There's the description, everything. So we do allow a final edit step that AP can take a look and go ahead and say, okay, yeah, looks like everything's good. Or they can make any changes and then put a comment in and say why they changed it and send it on from here. So that is how you get an invoice into QuickTag, quickly routed around for approval. Now, if everybody's on their game, instead of waiting, you know, a week or two, or hopefully not any longer than that, you can see that's done in a matter of minutes. People can receive electronically and send it along. I'm going to jump into QuickTag really quick here and show you where, I'm sorry, into GP and show you where that is now waiting for us to process. If I come over and open up a transaction entry screen here, the beautiful thing is that we in the additional tab, you can access QuickTag and the work queue that I'm going to show you really from any of the 80 screens out of the box, and we can add as many as you need. So we have a great presence in GP. We were the first to integrate with Microsoft ERP systems, and so we've been doing this for a long time. You can tag documents, which means you can always associate a document to any of those screens, whether that's a vendor card, employee card, or here in payables. You can always view anything that's associated, and this one's great too, a global search. I don't know how many times people say, I wish I could search in GP for documents. This is a search based on not just, you know, the name of the document or file name. It's literally any word in that document. We've scanned it in and cataloged that so that you can do a keyword search as well. In this case, here to end off this invoice process, I'm going to go ahead and open the work queue. This is where all invoices that have gone through the QuickTag approval process and QuickPayables are waiting for creation now in GP. So you can select all of these. You can, you know, multi-select and just a couple. And the goal here is to say, okay, I want to create a batch or add this to a batch. So this is all the information here. I can literally right-click and view the document, view all the details. But most people say, if it's here, I know it's been approved. I'm going to go ahead and hit the create button, add this to an existing batch, or type in a new batch. In this case, let me just add it to mine. Hit yes, and it leaves the work queue here. Now I can just go ahead and pull in that batch there. And here it is. So now you can see that I didn't have to do anything, any manual uploading of files. There wasn't like some gear I had to turn and get the squirrel going. It's just right here in GP now. We've got, it was that easy. It's all behind the scenes. I've created my PTE. There's the document number, the date, the vendor information, totals. If I click on distributions, it's all there too. Oh yeah, where's my Meowmo? There's my little Meowmo description. And if I come over here now in additional, click on view documents, my document is available for me to see forever and always now. Even if you deleted it, it'll out of your email or whatnot, it'll always be available in QuickTag and associated to this transaction in GP. So that is the payables not associated to a purchase order. Mary, do I have time to quickly show a PO-based one?
Absolutely. Yeah, let's do it. I mean, it'll take you all of 3.2 seconds, probably, maybe a minute.
yeah, because it's, I mean, basically it's the same, but the cool thing is that if you do two-way or three-way match, we've got you covered in this respect as well. So back here in my KTX task screen, I'm going to go ahead and work on this Uline invoice. And again, our data extraction service, KTIQ, has already processed this. It's pulled in all the key information. And if I click on edit, I'll show you, it's done one step further. Of course, we're going to get our duplicate warning. Say, okay, that's fine. I'll go ahead and make this unique for my demo purposes. Hopefully you guys aren't having to deal with duplicates too much. But again, all of this is here. And then beyond that, we actually will pull in the PO line as well. In this case, I'm going to show you that you can look into QuickTag. QuickTag will look into GP on its own. Sometimes our demo system doesn't grab it automatically, but it's either going to be waiting there for you, or you can go ahead and do a quick search and pull that PO in. So there's the purchase order on the invoice. Here it is. Here we can see that 200 were ordered, 200 were received, and 0 have been invoiced so far. Now this expects that 200 will be invoiced at 47 cents each. We can look over here and say, yeah, that's the case. But if it was different, you can go ahead and change that. If either of these, let's say they give us a discount or something, or this invoice, covered less, you can make any changes that you need to there as well, and then enter in the workflow comments. If there is a variation, you can certainly choose an approve row like you saw me do earlier. But we also give you the ability to just move this along, since the PO we're assuming was approved already, and that's why it's PO based, and everything matches, was received and matched. You can quickly just hit submit, and now that leaves your work queue here in QuickTag, and then coming into GP. It's very much the same situation here, only now since this is enter match, I'll go ahead and come in here, open up the work queue for enter match, and we should see it waiting here. I don't have a lot going on lately with enter match, so I've only got one, which is nice, and that's the one we've been working on.
Yeah, no, that means you're keeping up with your workload. That's a good thing.
I definitely am. I like to pay my vendors on time. So same situation here. I can add that to a batch or create a new batch, and it's gone. Now I'm going to go ahead and find that, bring it in, and now it's created my purchasing invoice entry. Just like you saw the PTE created, I've created this now based on the PO and the receiving. So everything's here, and in addition to seeing the invoice, this is the cool thing about QuickTag. We have what's called IntelliView. This is our patented solution that allows you to not just see the document related to this screen right here, but if it is based on a PO and based on a receiving, we'll go ahead and allow you to see the packing list as well as the as the invoice. So here's the invoice, and the other two should be linked here. And I must have done, oh, it's because I selected a different one.
Because you
It didn't.
selected a different one.
Yeah. But normally it'll all tie together and you'll see all three of those documents there as well. So that's how quick and easy it is to move those along through the system and get them approved. Yeah, what were you gonna say, Mary?
Michael, I was just going to comment that I can so appreciate, having been a former GP user myself, and I'm sure many of the people on the phone and attending the session are here today, what used to take us days and weeks, we talked about earlier, 35 to 45 days, you've just shown us in a matter of minutes in either a purchase order or a payables invoice with their review and approval and creation. So the time savings
Definitely.
is just huge. So thank you for.
It's a beautiful thing. I mean, people, sometimes they can't even imagine it being any different, but once it's there and they see how quickly things move, it's really nice to see how it changes their daily life.
Absolutely.
All right, so we're going to move on, and Mary's going to talk to us about now the payment process that comes after the invoice has been approved and entered into the ERP.
Right. And so I'm kind of going to pick up right where Michael just left off. Once you've got a number of invoices that have been approved and ready to batch for payment, then we've done two things in the QuickTag solution, in the KwikPayables solution, two things that will enable you to tie together the payment review and then also give you the ability to actually electronically issue those payments. First, what I'm showing you here on this slide is just the payment batch review and approval. I'm going to show you in the product too, but just so you understand what the process looks like, is that once you've created a payment batch in GP, it will be visible for you to review and approve in QuickTag. And even if you don't use our payment issuing service, that also is part of the new process of KwikPayables Accelerate, you can get access to this data, the payment data, right inside of QuickPayables. So that visibility is really key to have everything tied together. And this is what it's going to look like. Michael's sharing us a screenshot. So we're showing you the end before we show you the how we got there. But just understand that this data is going to be visible for you in KwikPayables. And that was directly, Michael, as a result of customer feedback, right? I can't tell you how many times we got the question, great, once I've got my approved invoices and everything, now what do I do? Do I print out all the check stubs and the supporting invoices and all the information? Do I go print what you just had me make digital? It just kind of seems backwards,
That's the last thing we want to hear, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
You want to keep it digital.
Right. So we've enhanced that and added the payment service and the payment review and approval process based on customer feedback. And so we hope that you will be able to take advantage of that as well. I'm going to show you just quickly kind of what it looks like in the product as well. If Michael, you can make me presenter, I'll share my screen over here and you can let me know when the right one comes up. With any luck, it'll be this guy right here. So let me know when you can see my screen.
All right. Yep, good to go.
Awesome. So in the same environment that Michael just demonstrated, KwikPayables with the invoice workflow processes for review and approval, if it's a payables invoice, and then the purchase order matching and submission, if it's a PO related invoice, he showed us a three-way match. Same interface in KTX, our web-based client, where your accounting professionals and your finance professionals and your controllers are going to come for review and approval of their payments as well as the invoices that Michael just showed you. So on my waffle menu over here on the right, I have, tasks and drawers just like Michael just shared with us in the AP step. And then I also have a little tile here for payment processing, and that's where we are here. So I have gone ahead and created a batch in GP, but let me just show you how real-time connected this is in the GP instance with QuickTag. If I wanted to import, you can see here I've got one. I just brought it in this morning. I've got a payment batch sent for approval that was directly from GP. But here's how easy it is now with this enhancement to bring in a check batch, a payment batch from GP so that it can be routed for review and approval. So I just created this one this morning for us, this demo 0915, that's today's date. I click it, I know that that's the batch I want to review and pay. I click import selected it's going to do a quick validation to make sure that it has all the right information created in the batch in GP, and then I get a message imported successfully. So a payment batch that I had created in GP just by, posting some transactions, creating and posting some transactions that are ready to be paid, comes straight into the QuickTag experience. I can see here the status in process. I'm going to just do a quick refresh here, and it's going to bring me back to that screen. I have multiple companies set up here, so I've got to select the company that we're working with. But then we can see there's my demo 09115 that we just imported, and it's now sent for approval. That's how easy it is because we're real time, again, connected to the GP environment. So I'm going to hop over to my approval step. I've gone ahead and prepped this view so that you can see exactly where we are with that. We'll come back into our payables batch review, payment batch review. And here's the one that I just submitted, the demo 0915. I can look at this payment batch now. I can drill down. I don't necessarily need to see the data about, that's why it doesn't show anything here for the batch, but I can come down here to the payment information. Okay, maybe I do want to look at this invoice. Maybe I do want to look at something about how it's been coded. Maybe I do want to review the actual document itself. Of course, my system is a little bit slow. Again, I turned off my camera to save bandwidth, but my system still wants to take its time. So I see the payment amount that it's going to be paid, the payment number and everything right here in my payment batch review, and I'm going to decide yes, I do want to see that. I do want to go ahead and approve it. If I click on this payable and have my view turned on, I will see the document, the actual invoice over to the right-hand side here. Again, my system is being a little bit slow, but the invoice would display there. So let's go ahead and approve this payment batch, and then we'll fast forward to what happens in that environment once a payment batch has been approved. So again, I can drill down and look at that detail if I need to, and I'll go ahead and say okay, although comments are optional. Again, it's okay, now it's really good. It's my internet, I promise. And so now that payment batch is no longer in my environment for review, it is ready to be posted in GP. So let's fast forward. I already did that step in GP with another batch, so I can show you what it looks like at the end. I've got one here right at the top. I see a payment batch that's been approved. So I'm showing you sort of the beginning and the interactivity part, and then the end result. Once I've posted that batch in GP, because I'll get an email notification. I could do this same thing via email, just like Michael showed us with the invoice. I can drill down into this payment batch. I can look at the detail of this document. Again, I can see the invoice. If I click on this, hopefully this will catch up a little bit quicker than the other one did. But then I can see here, this was the payment amount. I can scroll over. I see the posted date. I see the posted batch amount. I will be able to see the type of payment method, and there it is, the posted date, who, and the posted user, and then this will refresh based on data in GP because of the real-time connection with QuikPayables. Now, the part that everything I've showed you right now is just related to the payment batch review and approval, that you'll get this visibility inside of QuikPayables from what was sent for payment, okay? But if we actually issue the payment on your behalf as well, you'll also see, let's just take a look at this one, this demo 21 down here, we'll see the information as it was processed, where you'll get an electronic payment number. Here's the posted payment number. We'll get a payment date over here, payment amount. All of that information will actually be sent and issued by QuikPayables through our payment service. We've partnered with an industry leader in the payment processing world called Corporate Spending Innovations, and they have all of the payment data, process, vendors, banks, credit card authorization built into that environment. So we actually issue the payments on your behalf, and it's built into the product just like this. So there's no additional cost for it. Usually there's even an opportunity for you to get rebates for it. I get really excited when I start talking about it. So we can actually issue those payments on your behalf as well, and you'll get all that information. So now when you need to search something, you can search for it right here inside of QuikPayables. You don't even need to go into GP to find out when something was paid, how it was paid, the method or form of payment. So we've got the payment batch approval connected to GP, and then you can see exactly the data that comes back, as well as actually electronically issuing those payments on your behalf. Okay, so that was the brief demonstration. Michael, let's go back to the slides then, please.
All right.
All right, and I do apologize that my internet's a little bit slow, so it's tougher to.
That's okay. I'm sure everybody can relate at times.
Yeah. Working from home comes into play a little bit more often than we would choose. But yeah, if you want to go back to the slides, we can continue the conversation there.
Sure. Can you change presenter?
Perhaps. Let's see. I change it back to you. There we go.
All right.
How about that? Thanks for bearing with us, folks, while we do a little bit of back and forth here. So everything I just showed you was a two-step process that's all built into the product if you need it. The reason that I say that is you can see on this slide, there's two phases. There's the batch review and approval, and then there's the issuing the payments. Because they're two different steps, we know that some people maybe already have, issuing the payments handled. Maybe you're doing that through your bank, maybe you're doing that through another third party or another ISV. That's fine, absolutely. If you would like to look at how payments can actually benefit your organization, how you might be able to actually monetize those payments, earn some rebates, we're happy to have that conversation with you as well. But the payment batch review and approval and importing it directly from GP is going to make that process still digital and automated, because the last thing we want you to do is to have to go print out information for the payment batches after you've electronically approved and processed your invoices and your payables transactions. So two separate processes. You can take advantage of either or both. They're not dependent on each other, and they're both included in the process, in the product. So moving on from there.
Yep. Sounds good, Mary.
Awesome. Thanks, Michael. I just want to touch on this for just 1 second. I know today's focused on GP. Everything we've showed you has been related to GP, but we're also introducing at Summit, as Judy mentioned, we'll all be at next month. We are introducing our AP automation solution for Business Central. And the reason I bring that up is that some GP customers are thinking about potentially moving to BC down the road, and rest assured that we'll have a similar process for automating that invoice process, the data extraction, the purchase order matching, and that purchase invoice creation inside of Business Central as well. End of talk about Business Central, but I just wanted you to know that if you're thinking about going there down the road, we'll be able to meet you there where you are as well.
Yep, and that's certainly, I imagine, on a lot of people's minds. So
right.
Again, as we mentioned, we wish we can go into detail on this little time slot we have with everything, but we're always happy to answer any questions afterwards. So I did want to share a quick customer case study with QuickTag. You're always, during the evaluation process, we're always happy to connect you with customers who maybe are in a similar industry or using QuickTag as you, or a similar scenario, and they can share their experience. So we're happy to do that one-on-one as well, but we do like to share stories, our favorite ones on these events with you. So healthcare network, this one is in the healthcare industry. They're a network of providers that serve families with special needs children, and it's definitely one that's near and dear to our hearts. This organization, they're headquartered in the Northeast of the US, but they're very fast growing. They had started to acquire other organizations. They were growing organically, and as maybe some of you have experienced, with that growth comes growing pains and challenges. They were starting to feel like, that they had these disparate systems. They're not connected. So lack of integration between ERP, billing, HR, and other financial applications. Excel spreadsheets to track their processes left and right, way too many of them, and things were falling through the gaps. And then one of the big ones, I think, that we hear a lot too, is that they just couldn't find the right information at the right time, right? To close the books, or as they were processing invoices, Just they found that things were in too many locations and none of them connected to GP, and so they just slowed everything down and made life very difficult, especially as they continued to grow and have more locations. In their AP department, as you can see here, they had GP managed by their Dynamics VAR. They had a lot of their team members were connecting to GP through a VPN, and that can be challenging at times as well. And but QuickTag in the cloud, as you can see, well, I don't want to jump too fast to the solution, but they had over 20 GP users, one GP company, and approximately 2,500 invoices per month that they were processing. So the solution we brought to them was KwikPayables for GP with KTIQ, our SaaS-based solution in the cloud. So everything you saw today, and they also got the payment batch approval workflow, which Mary illustrated as well for you. So all of that gave them the benefits. I would love to say, overnight as an expression, but literally within, a few hours of turning the switch on for QuickTag and QuikPayables here, they were instantly able to, bring down their costs, reduce the invoice data entry time to almost nothing, as you saw me illustrate with KTIQ. And now documents are easy and fast to find, which moves their processes along and keeps everybody on the same page and connected with QuickTag. So those are the benefits that they experienced and are continuing to experience, as they grow and add new locations. It's a lot easier now to centralize AP and keep the processes streamlined. And so Mary's going to talk about some of the benefits that you could experience.
Yep, absolutely, Michael. And we love being able to share, customer stories because I just think they make it so much more real. And, I'll tie together kind of some of the additional benefits that a lot of our customers have experienced over time and continue to tell us about. And that's what we're looking at here. You can kind of think of this slide as the inner sort of light blue, light gray circle is the benefits that people receive, especially related to AP. And then the ones that are highlighted in blue are a little bit more related to payments. But as you can see, it's a very interconnected solution. So the value of the AP automation steps are, again, that intelligent AI-based invoice indexing reduces the data entry. That's the number one. Remember, 74% of organizations claim that as their number one challenge related to AP. And similarly, we see the overall AP costs reduced by up to 80%. That includes the people time, that includes the paper, that includes the processing delays, that includes the physical mailing of payments sometimes and receipt of invoices, all of those manual steps we talked about earlier. And then kind of the middle, the integration of the AP and the payment automation in one system. That visibility is so key, especially right now with a lot of us working remotely. And so you get the full visibility of the invoice process, the audit trail, and the payment method and details around that. Now, you mentioned a couple of times, Michael, that this solution was in the cloud, and KwikPayables Accelerate is specifically designed in the cloud. Of course, we have on-prem systems that we can still support as well, and if that's where people are, we're happy to meet you there. But we are able to get this process, this solution up and running very quickly because we're basing it on industry best practices, standard invoice workflows, and so you'll start realizing that ROI very quickly. And we talked about a little bit, if you are ready to or thinking about moving to Business Central down the road, you can easily move that to the new environment and take the solution with you. So as it relates to payments, if you look at that center one, I've talked a little bit about some of the outside ones. The vendors accepting virtual cards will make that easy for you, reducing that risk of fraud that we talked about earlier. And you'll get this all with dedicated support. But if you look at that center benefit in the middle of the slide, reinvent your AP team from a cost center to a revenue center by actually earning rebates on paying your bills, which is something that really adds directly to the bottom line, as well as streamlining this whole process. So it's a lot of different benefits that you can experience, and we have a lot of customers who are excited to be able to take advantage of those as well.
Yeah, I love that, Mary. Sometimes this, the little guy ends up saving the day, because the payment processing may seem like a small workflow, small consideration, but when it's configured right and those V cards are being used, we could actually pay for the whole scenario, AP automation and payment. That's really nice.
Absolutely, absolutely. And yeah, just a little bit about our QuickTag story as we've kind of filled you in along the way, that we've been, in the market of AP automation and document management since 1997. And as Michael mentioned, we were the first to integrate with the Dynamics ERP systems, and certainly we're the one that goes the deepest. And he mentioned 80 different screens in GP. That's because we have a strong integration and connection to Microsoft through our partnership with them. What that leads to is kind of the bottom line here, if you will, and that leads to, we have more than 120,000 business users around the globe. We support all of them right here in the US, right here in Tempe, Arizona, actually. And as a result of our continued innovation, we also continue to add to our patent and IP. And again, based on customer feedback, the addition of the payment process, the addition of the payment review process even has been directly related to customer feedback. And those are some of the things that we patent, and we're very excited to share with you as part of our overall solution. So we'd love to share our story with you a little bit more, and of course, learn about yours and how we can help you as we move forward.
Yeah, definitely. So we're at the point of our presentation where we would like to open it up for questions. Judy, if you're able to check the question box and let us know if anything is there, that would be great.
We do have questions. Thank you for such an excellent presentation. I just get excited every time I see your presentation. I could watch it again. I love it. I love what the product can do. Thank you so much. But we do have a question here. So some vendors send their invoices using Excel. Will it work too, or is it only work for PDF files?
Sure. So I'll take that, Michael.
Okay.
So the way that we have this straight through processing flow set up, it is designed to receive invoices in PDF format. The way that we typically address that with most customers who have Excel files is simply to download it and save it as a PDF, or right click and save from your Outlook directly to a PDF. So while it's an additional step to save the file, chances are you're going to be forwarding it to the inbox within QuikPayables as well. So it's going to be just part of your process, but you don't need to do any sort of conversion. You can typically just save it as a PDF. Yep. Good question.
Yeah,
Good.
excellent. Excellent. Okay. Any other questions? You can type them or raise your hand, and I'll unmute you, and you surely can ask questions. This is just great information. We look forward to seeing you at GPUC here in November for your presentation there as well. And very great product, and would love everyone to sit in on your sessions. So
awesome.
Yeah.
We look forward to it.
And as you notice here on the screen, we do have Matt's email address here. So if people don't want to or don't have time to, open up a question right now with us, Matt's always happy to communicate by email and then set up a time for a conversation.
sounds perfect. Sounds perfect. Well, thank you so much, you guys. Thank you so much. And of course, they can always reach out to me, Judy at iscorp.biz, and I will help. And I love to hear the answers to the questions too. I love to hear the questions as well as the answers. So you're always welcome to reach out to me. And I'm the person who sends tons of emails to, sends you educational emails every day. No.
Awesome.
Well, thank you, everyone, and you have a great day.
All right.
Thanks, Judy.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Judy.
Everyone.